Hey guys, this is Shawn Sandridge and I'm here with a review for The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, I have to tell you, this one gave me life. This is probably one of the best episodes that have come out this whole season. It had some good reality realness and some reality messiness. So I took a lot of notes. Don't be afraid. We're gonna get through this. It is not gonna be very long. So Thelma and Louise, aka Phaedra and Kenya, are heading to Flint, Michigan to do the camp that Phaedra is doing. And I have to say that Phaedra did a tremendous job heading up the camp. She was able to get 150 kids from ages 7 to 17 to the camp, and they were able to have the camping experience. Now, if you haven't been lucky in your childhood to do the camping thing, that is a great experience. And if you've ever been camping, you know, this is where childhood memories are created, and I was really happy for Phaedra. So of course, these are the kids that were affected by the Flint water crisis. And of course, Kenya's going because she's a Michigan native, and I thought it was really good for her to go home and talk to the kids. And so, you know, they do their Thelma and Louise in their convertible white Cadillac, and it was really cute. So the money that she had for the pop-up shop helped the kids get supplies, shirts, all the things that they need, basic necessities for the camp, and they were able to do a whole bunch of things on the camp premises. So I think that was really great. So, you know, for kids, especially city kids who do not have the opportunity to be in the outdoors and do something really outside of their neighborhood, is a great experience. And I know that the kids will definitely have that memory for a lifetime. So Kenya brings King and Twirl with her, and she's being all bougie about being at the camp. And I'm like, Kenya, listen, you have no idea what you could do with touching these girls' lives. She was talking about going to a hotel, which is really unnecessary. Stay on the premises. You know, you can mentor these girls and you can talk to them one-on-one and share with them some really great life lessons. I just thought she was being silly. So Porsha is meeting with Todd, and evidently he works for a conservative employer, and Porsha was on IG doing her thing, going to the Democratic convention, and of course she was taking pictures with Todd, who's her boyfriend, but at the time they had not made it public that they were dating. However, the employer got wind of it, was not happy. He told him to make a choice to either, you know, you need to stay within the lines of your, you know, what is expected of you working for the company, or you need to quit. And instead of, I don't know, thinking about it, having a phone call with Porsha, seeing what we could do to, you know, maybe not be on camera and do this underground and see if I can make an exit strategy, because if you love her and you don't feel like you want to have to make a choice, you need to make an informed decision. Oh no, he just says, I choose you, and he quits his job, and Porsha is not happy, and I don't disagree with her. You know, this is not a Jerry Maguire movie moment, you complete me. This is real life. And you know what? Porsha in this episode was winning. I think she was winning throughout this whole episode. She was lucid, she was smart, she was, you know, thinking like a woman in her 30s should be thinking of. Like, dude, what are you thinking about quitting your job? You know, a minute ago, you know, we were just feeling each other out. Now you're telling me you want to quit your job for me, and you don't have a safety net, you don't have a backup plan, you're not doing anything. So she told him straight out that, you know, this is a deal breaker for me. You're not looking for a job or anything. And, you know, this is just not cool. You know, this is grown folks. So if we got bills to pay, you have kids to take care of, and you quit your job. Like, who does that? So Kenya is going back to the camp. Kenya is feeling better at the camp. She stays overnight. And so Kenya is speaking to the kids on character development. And this was really enlightening. She says after 3 attempts, she finally made Miss USA. I did not know that. And she says that, you know, you need to believe in yourself. You need to take the courage to believe in yourself and follow your dreams, and, you know, set your sights on things and see it to come to its fruition. And I thought that was a very, very good thing, because, you know, kids today, and I talk to my daughter about this all the time, kids today think that, you know, they see their stars and they see their idols, and all they see is the glitz and the glamour, and they don't see the background story about how they got there. You know, that's why, you know, the behind the music exposés and unsung it's all those type of shows are really good, you know, because kids right now, all they see is their favorite people, you know, blinging out, rolling out with cars, making lots of money, hitting the Forbes 500, and they don't pay attention to what they had to do to get there. And there's always a backstory. When you check out anyone who's successful in any field, in any industry, more than likely there are far more failures before they got to their successes. And I thought that was a really good thing, because, you know, Kenya Moore being Miss USA and being, you know, a dark-skinned young woman winning USA was huge. And, you know, I, as a dark-skinned young woman in her peer group, you know, I was like, wow, we can do this, because people didn't look like us winning. And the fact that she tried 3 times is to let these young kids know, you know, you may have stumbling blocks and you may have, you know, failures and false starts, but if it's something you want to do and you believe in yourself that you can do it, you go after it and you commit to it and follow your dreams. And I thought it was a great message. And I thought for Kenya, is one of the, since this whole season, it is one of the best lights that Kenya has been shown in. And I really felt like, you know, I know it was, she had the girls twirl, and that was cool, and that was cute. I really wish that we could highlight Kenya in her strong suits, because she really does have a story. And I think that she could do really well doing public speaking, going out to high schools, going out to mentorship programs, and talking to the young ladies about having your self-worth, being smart, and that you can achieve your dreams. And don't let anybody stop you on that. And I really think that we should see more of that about Kenya, because the storyline with Matt, I don't like it. So we go over to Candy's house, and Cynthia is staying over there because, you know, she does not have any place to stay. So Cynthia is over at Candy's house, and she's unpacking, and Candy isn't really feeling Cynthia, because Cynthia brought her own food and she bought Febreze, and Candy felt some kind of way. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you real talk. Because of the time, you know, I spent a lot of time away from home being in the military, and, you know, Cynthia being a model, I kind of relate. Candy doesn't understand this really, because you know, her time with Escape, and she hasn't done a lot of touring. I mean, I know she's a great songwriter and she's an artist, but when you're someone who is on the road a lot, you like to have a lot of creature comforts. And Candy was feeling a little insulted because Cynthia had a lot of things that gives her comfort, and I do that too. When I was in the military, all the time, I would be in hotels. When I would be away from home, there were things that I would pack that made me comfortable. So Candy felt insulted, but I totally understood Cynthia. Yeah, you pack your own cereal, you bring your own stuff, you bring things that you don't have to second guess you have. You know, when the kids were little, they had the little, oh, I don't know, the little plush animals. And my youngest son, Eli, he had all these little, oh, beanie babies. He had all these beanie babies that his aunt gave him. And I always had a traveling stuffed animal with me. No matter where I went, if I was gone for a weekend or I was gone for 2 weeks, I always had these beanie babies that I would bring with me, and I would sit on my dresser. So the fact that she had a picture, and the fact that she had cereal, and the fact that she Febreze, listen, I had a roommate that when we traveled, she always brought Lysol. And I have one of those travel pack of Febrezes. And it's not because I think anything's wrong with the stuff, but again, you want to feel, even though you're living somewhere else, you want home away from home. And so, when I wash my sheets, I Febreze my mattress and I Febreze the sheets out of the dryer. So that is my routine. So Candy needs to not feel insulted. We all have our idiosyncrasies, and I totally understood what Cynthia was thinking. So it's okay. So, okay, so we're back at the campground, and the kids were ziplining, and Phaedra and Kenya were with the girls on the water having lunch, and they were doing this cool little, old-fashioned kind of Miss Mary Matt kind of thing, and they were just having good fun. And they had a talent show, and then the camp kids came up and told their stories. These young men, these young, beautiful Black boys and girls are talking about their hardships. And I have been tweeting all this time. So listen, I'm going to break real quick. So listen, if you don't follow me on Twitter, you need to follow me on Twitter. You need to follow me on Instagram. Shawn Sandridge, same name, keeping it simple throughout Real Housewives of Atlanta. I was tweeting. I'm still getting tweets back and getting retweeted because this was a really good episode, and I was on Twitter like crazy. So I really hope that Phaedra and Kenya work together on these types of projects. This is the part of reality that I really like to see, and like to see the women really working in their element. I am not team anybody. I advocate who I think is doing right. And I have to say, Phaedra and Kenya, they really worked really well together, and I really enjoyed what they did, and I hope they do another camp for the kids. Okay, so Cynthia is talking to Candy, and in my field, in real estate, clear to close is the sound of music. So she got the clear to close, and she's going to be in her house, and Candy is relieved. So insert the laugh track. We are now moving to Sheree and Sweaty Bob, and he is taking her out on a date. And he takes her out to this place, and he calls it Chateau Robert. And he gives Sheree a burlesque show. And, I have to say this, and I tweeted this out, that, I'm sure that Sheree was attracted to his money and his prestige being a football player. But as a woman, and most women do love men who make them laugh. And I am definitely one of those women. Like I said, I'm heading towards my 23rd anniversary. And the glue to my relationship with my husband is that we laugh a lot. So I understand why Sheree was attracted to Bob, because, deep down, he's a goofball. And we like that kind of stuff. So, he was sweaty and he was funny, and he did something that she really wanted to hear. For the first time, she said that he really, she was saying how he was being silly, but he did take the time to commend her and really say to her how she has been a wonderful mother to his children, how They have grown up to be good people, which I think every parent wants their children to be. You want them to be good people. You want them to be, responsible people. And he says that, he wasn't always there and he didn't always participate, but his children are the way they are because she had a hand in it, and that he is really, really proud of the mother that she has been to his children. And she says, I really appreciate that. I don't think I ever heard it. And every woman wants to be validated. Every person wants to be validated, but every woman definitely wants to be validated with their significant other. Even if you're not married, you want to be validated for the work that you do. And that is definitely the utmost compliment that any woman can get who have children, that the person who they have had children with respect and honor and appreciate the mother they are to their children. So that was really good for Sheree, and it kind of softened her a little bit. So, way to go, Sweaty Bob. So Porsha is in bed, and if you go back a couple of times in the blogs and things trending, that Porsha fainted a few times, and no one understood what was going on. Like, are you drinking the slim tea? Like, people were wondering what was going on. So evidently, at this time, she's talking to Phaedra. Porsha fainted in the nail salon, and that she says that this has happened 5 times in her life. She says that she has been diagnosed with a condition where there is not enough blood flow to the brain, and she fainted. And that's why she faints from time to time. So although I'm nosy and I really want to know what this condition is, there are HIPAA laws, and so it is her right not to disclose the exact name of the condition, but I am curious to know what it is and why there isn't blood flow to the brain. Is there a circulatory issue? I'm curious, but I realize that is her right to not disclose. And she really shed some light. There isn't anything she's doing. It's not like she's anorexic or she's doing anything crazy. She actually has a medical condition, and we're just going to leave it at that. So Phaedra says, when you're feeling better, we'll get together and do the frickin' frack thing. Shamia is there being a good friend, and in walks Todd. Todd and Porsha have not spoken to each other for quite some time, and that's because Porsha is feeling some kind of way about Todd. And, who knows, Todd might be feeling Bright Lights Big City about Porsha, that, Porsha's kind of moved up and, he wants to ride on her train. We don't know. It's suspect, but we don't know. But Porsha is saying that, this little fainting spell was brought on by stress, and that, Porsha's having a real serious heart-to-heart talk with him and saying that, you don't have a job, you're not looking for a job, you're here trying to figure out what you're going to do, and that stresses her out because you not being a provider is really a deal breaker for me. And I don't blame her. I really believe that as women, we need to advocate for ourselves. We need to say what we need, and we need to say what we want, and we need to be very clear. So I was really proud of Porsha for saying, like, look, this is not working for me. You're being a little too nonchalant about it, but what I'm seeing is giving me red flags, and I don't want to move forward, which is a very different Porsha than when she was with Dookie last season. She is not trying to take care of no man. She says she's working hard. She wants a man who works hard, and I'm here for it. So you tell him, Porsha. So in reality show fashion, the ladies are all meeting for lunch. Porsha wants to thank the ladies for their contribution to the pop-up shop, and that she wants to report how successful the camp was. So of course, that things never go right. It is a reality recipe that when all the ladies get together, something is going to go down. So Phaedra was talking about the camping, and she suggests that the ladies go glamping, kind of like what the Real Housewives of the Real Housewives of OC did. They did the glamping trip. So Um, I put in my notes that Sheree must have been feeling a heat or must have been sensing that the ladies were going to be a little bit one too many times of Sheree stirring a pot. So Sheree decided to tap out and tap Kenya in because this time Kenya decided she was going to stir the pot. So, uh, right then and there, after Sheree passed the baton to Kenya and said, listen, it's getting a little too hot in there. You take over. Kenya brings up about her apprehension to go camping because how she said it, in the past, Porsha doesn't always behave well. You know, that in camping, she's not really worried about the lions and tigers and bears. She's more worried about Porsha and about, she likes to attack people when they get together in social events. And that, how is that anger management that Phaedra said that you're working on? How is that really working out? Because I really like to know before I go out and be with you, in a social setting. So Porsha was feeling some kind of way, and I don't really blame her. Kenya, you were straight up wrong. I'm not team anybody. I'm team right. And Porsha was really being ambushed and attacked. And Kenya, I was not here for you. So, Bravo had the receipts, and Kenya threw Phaedra under the bus. Now, here it is. Kenya and Phaedra have had a really good moment, had a really good time, and then Kenya throws Phaedra under the bus, and Bravo comes behind with the receipt showing that Phaedra did talk to Kenya and saying that Porsha is going to anger management and that she wants to tell everybody how well she's doing and how she's progressing in anger management. Now, Porsha was like, what are you talking about? I didn't say anything about that. I was not talking about saying anything. And then Candy decided to piggyback and said, well, exactly what are you doing with anger management? And I have to say, I don't, I'm going to just say that I really didn't understand where Candy was coming from other than the fact that she's got a residual attitude about the last couple of episodes that she had with Porsha and Sheree, mainly Porsha, because she feels like Porsha is sticking up for Phaedra and Phaedra is not her friend. And of course, Candy has feelings about Phaedra and that Porsha trying to stick up for someone who she doesn't think is going to stick up for her. There's obviously some underlying issues going on between Candy and Porsha. However, Porsha wasn't happy. Phaedra was trying to stick up for Porsha, saying that, she was trying to backpedal, James Colwell style. And then, of course, that when Phaedra takes a moment to take a sip of her beverage, BS is going to fall from her lips. She was trying to backpedal and trying to say she didn't say it, but Bravo played it out. And then, Porsha didn't like the perceived ambush that Kenya was doing. And Candy, they were provoking. So Porsha was defensive. And then Porsha just got up and left, and rightfully so. There's no reason to sit at the table with a bunch of women who aren't really there for you. Porsha and Kenya have been getting along, but they've just been getting along existing. And Kenya is going back to old ways, poking the bear. I say that, poking the bear, saying, well, obviously the anger management is not working for you because you obviously don't think you did anything wrong. And she's like, well, you must have forgotten what you did to me, putting that stupid, specter in my face. And Kenya never wants to admit, and she plays victim. And I tweeted, Porsha got up and left, and then Kenya went and walked after her. And Phaedra is saying, there is nothing good about you going after Porsha. Let her go. And I said, don't you see this being a trend, Kenya? You wonder why folks get upset. Now, of course, for Matt, it is not right nor is it to his um to nor is it to his there's nothing that's going to be good to come to him if he touches Kenya. We all know that. Porsha hitting Kenya is just a bunch of girls fighting. But the truth is that there's a common denominator, and that's Kenya. Kenya provokes people, and then she expects, after people have hit their limit, that they're supposed to be civilized and they are supposed to be restrained when she doesn't restrain herself with her mouth. Okay, I told you guys how I lost my temper with a bunch of people who were pressing me after I was trying very hard to maintain some decorum. But after a while, you have to show people you're not playing around with them. And I don't think why is it Kenya thinks that everybody else should be restrained when she is never restrained with her actions or her words. So she left, she drove off. Now, Kenya then wants to go to Sheree, which I don't even know why she thought that was a good idea. You know, truth be told, Sheree is the kind of girl that could pop off too. And she had her cornrows. She could have easily, and she could have easily kicked off her heels and pulled off her earrings and fought. And Kenya would not be ready for it, because, you know, she had a cute little romper outfit. Sheree could have easily fought that girl. She had her hair in cornrows. What was Kenya gonna do? Anyway, she makes accusations, which was wrong, about Sheree being in a domestic, violent, abusive relationship. And where did that come from? And I tweeted, and this is why people don't like Kenya. Kenya says things, you know, throw her rocks and hide her hands. You put stuff out there in the atmosphere and you just don't think that anybody should respond or react. And that's stupid. It's adolescent, and you're crazy. That's just not how the real world works. Anyway, so so at the end, Porsha came back. She told Phaedra that she got her text. She only came back to talk to her and a couple people. And I was there for Phaedra. I'm telling you, I ended my tweet with this. Porsha went off and I was here for it. And Porsha was right. Porsha and Kenya are not friends. And I understand that. If I'm not friends with you, I don't even want you to know that I'm breathing, really. If I'm not friends with you, you don't need to know my business, and you are definitely not going to know the inner workings of my personal business. And Phaedra saying anything to Kenya about Porsha, she's like, no, she is never going to know anything about my business. And that the fact that you are sitting there talking to her about me is not cool. And then she said, I'm telling you, you better be very clear and you better be very cautious about letting her being a friend to you. She is not somebody to be trusted. And she said, I was wearing black and I didn't even know that I needed to wear black because I'm dead to these women. And I was here for Porsha. Don't be trying to provoke me and then gang up on me. And then when I react, because that's a normal human reaction, that now I'm crazy. Okay? Just take it for what it is, and I'm done with these women. And I was here for Porsha. Listen, Porsha, there was nothing I could say. This was a wonderful episode. In the words of Platinum Rose, I loved it, and I was here for it. And it was an awesome episode. And next week sounds like it's going to be juicy too. So, yep. That's the end of the Real Housewives of Atlanta review. A little bit longer than normal, but there was a lot to talk about. So take care of yourself and each other. And remember, don't let anybody dim your light. Let it shine. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.